With the Season 2 premiere of HAZBIN Hotel come and gone, I think that using these first 2 new episodes, I can finally crack one of the biggest mysteries of the series. That being, how redemption actually works in the first place. Sir Pentious, being the only soul to ever be condemned to hell and then redeemed into heaven, is our only example of this. But using his story, I feel like one can create a rough roadmap for a condemned soul to get into heaven. To get from hell into heaven, you have to address exactly why your soul was condemned to damnation in the first place. Let's take a look at our boy Pentious as an example. In the second episode of the new season, Pentious's heaviest mortal sin was revealed to be that he watched a woman get murdered by who I assume is a reference to Jack the Ripper, and then said nothing, allowing the Ripper ripoff to get off scot-free. For this, his soul was marked as tainted, and he was condemned to hell. I don't know what happened in between there and him becoming like a mass-murdering Lex Luthor snake motherfucker in hell, but we're gonna move on. Now that we know why he was condemned, we can examine his redemption through the same context. Pentious was condemned because he saw the terrible sin of taking an innocent life, and did nothing in response, when he had the power to bring the murderer to justice. His inaction out of fear was his mortal sin. In his afterlife, he saw a force that could easily erase him from existence, Adam, and instead of cowering in silence, he sacrificed his own life in an attempt to save the lives of his friends. Pentious's sin in life was inaction in the face of murder. It only makes sense that his redeeming action in the afterlife is to take the ultimate measure, sacrificing himself. He learned from his mistakes, and he changed. How redemption works is exactly how it sounds. You have to redeem the sinful trait that got you sent to hell in the first place. You have to demonstrate that you fixed the issue that got you condemned, and you have to do it in a big way. Pentious addressed the sin that put him in hell, therefore, he got to rise. I don't know if you have to die again to be rejudged, but don't worry, a million accounts that only exist to bitch about HAZBIN are writing this down as a plot hole as we speak. We don't know exactly what sins the rest of the crew were sent down for. I mean, I can make a guess, but we do know the path to redemption. There is one big issue here. Pentious is going to try to leave by any means necessary to see his friends. He's very upset that he doesn't get to see them and is vocally very worried about how they're doing. Emily, in response, is like, "Oh, don't worry, they'll be fine. Also, heaven's on lockdown, there might be a war, you're a captive prisoner, but don't worry, they're fine." We already see him try to build a device to tunnel his way out of heaven during a musical number, so my question is, how long until he figures out the reason why he was allowed to come back up in the first place, and how long until he starts sinning again in an attempt to get sent back down? This brings me to my prediction for the rest of the season. I'm gonna come off like a crackhead, but hear me out. I think that the tension between heaven and hell is inevitably going to come to a head with the breaking out of at least a few battles, and at most an all-out war. Loot and the V's are going to take similar strategies in encouraging this conflict any way they can, because the V's are after power and Loot's after revenge. In all this chaos, Charlie and Emily are going to work together to prove redemption as a more valid strategy for how heaven and hell can work together rather than fight. And Pentious is going to be the poster child for that. Here's where the problem comes in. Pentious isn't allowed to leave heaven, a place he seems to hate so far, to go see his buddies down in the fire pit. Communication doesn't seem like a strong suit of heaven, so they're probably just going to keep him in the dark about what's going on, leading him to take his fate into his own hands. I think Pentious is going to find a sin that gets to the root of why he was condemned and commit it in heaven. Something like, I don't know, watching a murder happen and saying nothing, or making a murder happen. I don't know if he has to say anything about it. He's gonna get sent back down, jeopardizing the redemption mission for Charlie and Emily, becoming a symbol of failure for both the V's and Loot, either inciting the heaven-hell war or making it a whole lot worse. Think I'm stupid and crazy? Here's an image from the trailer showing him in his hellish colors again. But hey, that's just my theory. If you like cartoons like HAZBIN, people compare my work to HAZBIN no matter how much I cry and tell them to stop, so you might like mine. Like, comment, and subscribe with all notifications enabled, or I'll send you to hell. Shout out the inner circle. Love y'all.
What the fuck is that thing?
I can tell you the ingredients, but I'm really struggling on a name.
I